Have you ever wondered how those folks with more wealth, perhaps those higher net worth folks, think about retirement? What do they do that looks so different than regular, perhaps middle class folks? We see a lot of different scenarios, and we get to look under the hood of hundreds of different families' finances. We see what's working. We see what can be improved. So in this video, we're going to share some of the top retirement planning tactics and strategies that we see and recommend being deployed by those who have a higher net worth. Before we get started, if we haven't met, I'm Steve Willems. I'm a wealth advisor with the Willems Wealth Planning Group out here in BC. We started this channel to help you plan for your own retirement, helping you think about how to plan and arrange your investments, your income stream, and ideally reduce the amount of tax that you'll pay in the process. So let's begin by delving into strategic giving. High net worth folks tend to have figured out one thing before others, that they get joy and satisfaction out of giving their money away. They've found that the accumulation of money actually hasn't improved their happiness to the degree that maybe they thought it would. And now they're finding that by exercising philanthropy or generosity, that actually makes them feel really good. Now, high net worth folks approach philanthropy with a unique twist. What they do is they typically will be giving their assets rather than just cash. This approach involves often using a donor-advised fund, which is a structure that allows you to contribute assets like stock or real estate or other investments to the pot. The donor, the high net worth individual, will get a charitable tax receipt for the full value of the item that's being donated. The donor-advised fund will typically then convert that asset into cash and then allow the donor to distribute the cash through to the affected or specific charities that they would like to see that go to. Now, those donations, the flowing through of those donations, those are technically called grants. And those grants have to go to certain registered charities. They can't just go to someone who's related to you. It has to go to true charitable work. Now, by donating your assets as opposed to cash, the CRA will give you a number of significant benefits. Personally, you have the opportunity to perhaps forgive some capital gains by donating assets this way, while still getting the full charitable tax receipt. If you do this inside a company, perhaps you have a private business and you're donating assets inside your business, you can get a windfall of other perks as well. Potentially, you're going to get forgiveness on capital gains if you donate those assets. That, in turn, could create a capital dividend account balance, which would then allow you to extract other assets out of your company through to you, potentially tax-free. And all this while you still get to donate the full value of those assets through to the causes that you care about. The other benefit is you can do this anonymously. If you like supporting things, but you don't want your name plastered everywhere, or you don't want to be put onto email notifications and newsletters and all the other things, then donating through a donor-advised fund also gives you a degree of anonymity to your donation or your gift. So this is certainly something that we see a lot of higher net worth folks doing. Has seen massive growth. There's billions of dollars in the space here in Canada, and it's growing at a really exceptional rate. Now, up next, let's discuss the power of collaborative planning. High net worth folks, they understand that a team effort can lead to superior results. Often it was this idea of team that actually helped them build their wealth in the first place. What they do is they engage not only with their financial planning team, but also with their legal team and their accounting professionals. And they're able to conduct their affairs in such a way where everyone is singing out of the same songbook. Typically, there's a quarterback who will take the lead in terms of forward-thinking planning. Often the accountants will play a more responsive or reactionary role, taking care of the compliance and the tax duties that need to be dealt with on the backwards-facing responsibilities, and the lawyers often always have a role to play as well. But it's the synchronization, the working together of all of these different team members that allows the entire retirement plan for this person to really work seamlessly together, minimizing pitfalls or miscommunications or just missed opportunities, generally allowing you to pay less tax as well. The third item is the idea of tax efficiency. So tax efficiency comes as a cornerstone in the retirement blueprints of high net worth folks. They recognize the importance of smoothing out their tax rates and strategically mapping out all of their tax obligations over their lifetime. They're never surprised when a tax bill comes due. It was already pre-planned. This may be seen when constructing income streams. Do we take eligible dividends, ineligible dividends, draws from your non-registered account? Should we be paying out that capital dividend account? Should we be accessing cash in some other way? Should we be refinancing properties? All of these things need to work together, and what you don't want is you don't want a herky-jerky tax bill every year where it's completely different. Ideally, you're going to pay less tax if you smooth it out over time, as opposed to having paying tax at a high marginal rate and then a really, really low marginal rate. It's this foresight that helps avoid the peaks and valleys that often can become disruptions to financial plans. Now, just before we move on, if you found this thinking helpful, would you mind just hitting that like button? That way we can figure out what content's been most helpful and we can make sure that we do more work in the areas that matter most to you. Up next is the idea of crafting a diversified financial landscape. What that looks like for these higher net worth folks is the idea of having assets in different types of buckets, each with its own tax treatment. So for an average higher net worth family, they're going to have money probably in their corporate investment account, almost corporate savings in excess of what they need to run their business. They'll probably have RSPs. They'll probably have a little bit of value in a personal non-registered account, though typically a little bit less because often that money is trapped inside their company. Often they'll have tax-free savings accounts or other types of accounts as well. What they'll find is that they'll have different assets in different buckets, all with different tax treatments. And then they'll be able to have all of those different elements work together, again, in synchronized fashion to reduce that overall tax bill and ultimately reduce the amount of risk that is being exposed to them. What this also does is it gives them flexibility. So if there's a year where a business transaction is occurring and they need to be drawing income, they've got choice of where to draw that income from. They're not just forced continuing to take fully taxable income, perhaps out of one of their other buckets. Up next is the idea of just shifting from accumulation to preservation. What we find is that as retirement approaches, a fundamental shift occurs from accumulation to this mentality of preservation. High net worth individuals, they understand the need to safeguard their wealth from potential erosion due to estate taxes. They know all the statistics, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. Look at the Vanderbilts and the evisceration of family wealth. They know the odds aren't in their favor, and often estate taxes or taxes due when someone passes is often a large contributor to the failure of that wealth passing down from one generation on to the next generation. They get that, and it's completely integrated into their planning. So typically at this point, their focus shifts. Instead of trying to grow the pie, they're going to be there to maintain the pie. They want to preserve it. They've earned it once. They don't want to earn it a second time. So typically, their investment strategy will tilt a little bit more conservatively. They're going to make sure that they've got their cash set aside to fund their lifestyle over the next certain number of, predetermined amount of years or months. And they're just going to be less eager to be hopping on that next 2x return or that next crazy opportunity. It just doesn't dazzle them like it used to. Their goal is now solving for how do we reduce this estate tax burden that's going to be thrust upon us on the second passing of a patriarch. That's where their focus goes. And so that's where those are the problems that they would work then with that professional team to work together towards solving. So to wrap up, hopefully you found that some of these strategies employed by these higher net worth folks offer valuable insights, which hopefully will allow you to, improve your own retirement plan. Often it's a combination of strategic giving or philanthropy, this idea of just making sure all the members of your advisory team, your lawyer, your accountant, your planner, they're all working together, thinking about this idea of tax efficiency, thinking through the different asset classes or buckets that you're going to have available to you in retirement, and that you've got lots of choice in terms of how you're going to be constructing that income stream. All of this can work together to build a roadmap that'll help you get to where you're trying to go. So as you embark on this journey, hey, don't Don't hesitate to gain wisdom and insight from those that are just a few steps ahead of you. In our case, we see these situations every single day. I love it. It's a ton of fun. Just like a mechanic can diagnose an issue on my car a whole lot faster or accurately than I certainly can. You know, an outsider can often spot these opportunities a lot easier than if you're inside the fishbowl. So hopefully that's helpful. If it is, give this video a thumbs up. Want to make sure that we're doing stuff that matters most to you. Cheers.